The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 799. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is the co-founder of the Asian Hustle Network and also the founder of Prism Fitwear, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Maggie Chui. Maggie, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Sheena, for having me on the show. I'm very excited to be here. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I currently live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I come from a finance background, and I work in tech. About a month ago, I started a Facebook group called Asian Hustle Network, and it offers a global platform for Asian entrepreneurs and hustlers to be able to share their businesses, uplift and support each other, and feel empowered to pursue their dreams. And the group has gained over 9,000 members in just over a month. So I'm extremely happy about that, as we have huge plans for the group in the near future. I'm also really into fitness and in the process of creating my own fitness apparel line at the moment called Prism Fitwear, with the goal of becoming a better version of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Thanks for sharing that, and congrats on your group. That's amazing. In 1 month, you were able to gain about 9,000 members. So I think that's amazing. And, just all you have to do is start, right? You never know where it can take you. So thanks again and congrats. And Maggie, what's your cultural background?
My cultural background, I am American-born Chinese. Cantonese is my first language. Both of my mom and dad are from Hong Kong. They immigrated to the US separately to provide a better life for their future children, and then eventually met each other in the Bay Area.
Thanks for sharing that. And what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
So my favorite quote is, use every day as an opportunity to become better. And I'm not quite sure where I might have gotten it from or who created it. I might have created it myself, though I'm sure there are a lot of different variations of the quote that have the same meaning. And I think it's very important for us to do one thing every day that will help us get one step closer towards our goals. Don't take the day for granted. One of my favorite books, The One Thing by Gary Keller, asks us, what's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? And I believe in the compound effect through consistency and hard work. And I think about this quote every day to remind myself that each day is literally handing me an opportunity to be better than I was yesterday. And if you work towards your goal every day, the incremental changes may not seem like a big difference, but a year or two from now, you will see that you've made monumental changes.
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
In my own words, my definition of self-confidence is to be able to do things on your own terms rather than on the terms of anyone else. Self-confidence to me is understanding that you owe it to yourself to want more. And through all the quote unquote ships that I've been in, say they were relationships or friendships, I've come to learn that you can't force someone to change. They will only change if they want to change themselves. To me, self-confidence is being able to recognize that you want something better for yourself and you take actionable steps to get there.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And Maggie, what was your life like before you discovered self-confidence?
My life before my discovery of self-confidence was pretty different. I consider myself very irresponsible. I was not disciplined, and I had a lot of self-limiting thoughts. I never made it out to the gym, and if I did, I only stayed on the cardio machines, and I didn't really care to learn anything else. To be quite honest, I'm pretty petite. And if I told you my height, you wouldn't believe me. I was bullied throughout my years in middle school and some of high school. And I think this probably trickled down to my perspective of the world in my teen years. And still to this day, I always knew I wanted to do something big. But I always thought, I was not meant to have a greater life. And I'm still working towards that. But I now feel like I have a clearer vision of how to get there. Before, I would get cold feet on every big decision that I had to make. And regardless of how many times I would tell myself I wasn't scared, it was actually fear holding me back. Fear holding me back from pursuing my dreams, fear that I might fail and make a fool out of myself.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we all go through, that fear, right? Like you mentioned, fear of failing, fear of making a fool of yourself, fear of like what others might think of it. And yeah, that can really hold us back because I mean, we're all guilty of it. I know I've been guilty of it. I mean, even starting a podcast, I was so afraid to put it out there because I was so afraid that people might laugh at me or find my voice annoying or weird or whatever it is, right? Like we all have these thoughts and, sometimes we need to have that push, whether it's from ourselves or from the people we surround ourselves with to, make our dreams a reality or whatever it may be. And what was that point in your life when you realized you can go out there and, be the person that you are today, especially creating the Asian Hustle Network, right? I mean, 9,000 members in about a month, that's in over a month. I mean, that's amazing, right? And it just shows like, there is always something out there that we can start and nothing's ever too late. But what was that aha moment?
So I have two big aha moments. The first is when I discovered lifting. So I started lifting about 2 years ago and I immediately fell in love with it. I started seeing notable changes to my body when I started powerlifting and I couldn't keep myself away from the gym. I personally weigh 87 pounds and it always amuses me when people at the gym are surprised that I can lift heavy. And now I consistently go to the gym and I can't see myself turning back. But not only do I go to the gym to get stronger, but it really is the only time that I can disconnect from the world. And when I can disconnect from the world, when it's just me and the barbell. And those are the moments that I can relish in the most. And I took this motivating factor and I sprinkled it onto every other aspect of my life. I knew I wanted to read more, write more, be more in tune with who I was as a person. And then my second aha moment, although it was only a month ago, was when I created Asian Hustle Network with my boyfriend. We call it AHN for short. And we created the group because we attended a conference with a full line of panel speakers, of which all of them were non-Asian. And we felt as if Asians were underrepresented in the professional and business field and wanted to create a global impact to bring the Asian community together. And we now have almost over 10,000 members and we started this group in November. And I felt like we just hit a product market fit. Everyone expressed like their outpour of love and support and enthusiasm, saying that they've never seen a group like this before and that they wish they found something like this years ago. And I think growing up as Asians, a lot of us were taught to, go to school and get a well-paying job until the day that we retire and just follow the norm. And even if we do go through the entrepreneur route, a lot of us tend to keep to ourselves and we're afraid to share our businesses with others. But what we want to do is to combat that and break that mental barrier by creating an inviting community that fosters growth and collaboration through entrepreneurship or through your hustle. And my main goal for the group is to also increase representation around Asian women empowerment. And we've been getting more and more females to post. I feel so inspired reading all of our members' posts that I realized that I'm dealing with something much larger than just managing a group. This is about creating a movement and making a difference. And I feel that my purpose has grown so much stronger with AHN because I believe in the mission and the impact that we can make to the Asian community. And Gina, I know you're in the group as well, so I just wanted to thank you for being a part of this movement with us.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and I'm so grateful that there's a group like yours, like the Asian Hustle Network, because yeah, like you mentioned, as Asian people, we're so underrepresented. Like, there's not a lot of support systems out there. I mean, was one of the reasons why I created the podcast because it's like I don't see a lot of support systems for Asian women. And yeah, I like how you mentioned that more and more Asian females are posting in the group, which is great because we always have this stigma that it's shameful to like promote ourselves or promote our business. Like there's always this stigma and it stops us from like sharing what we have, knowing that it could help someone out there. And so, like it just starts with something that you want, right? Like you mentioned, we're so underrepresented and instead of waiting for someone to create it, we can be that person to create it and you never know where it can take you. Like, yours almost 10,000 members. That's amazing, right? I mean, it just shows that what you have is a need and there's people out there who love it and support it. And I know it's going to keep growing. And this it's just been a month. Imagine a year or 2 years from now, what you can accomplish. So, congrats to that. And I think that's great that you've been doing that. And I'm just really grateful to be part of the group as well. And, because of that realization or those realizations, what's your life been like now?
So my life now, I feel like it's full of lessons. It's full of life lessons. I still feel fear, but to me now, I feel like fear is a sign that you're taking chances and just entering unfamiliar territory. And I know that most successful people know how to persevere despite the fear that they feel. And we're all learning at every point in our lives, and as morbid as it sounds, I feel like if you're not learning, you're essentially dying. And now I go to the gym 5 to 6 times a week. I read and write every morning. I first write 5 things I'm grateful for, 5 goals, and then I free write my thoughts for the day. And I feel much more disciplined. I'm confident about my body. I love my height. I take advantage of it every chance I get. And honestly, my shoes are much cheaper because they're so much smaller than everyone else's. I set goals for myself and I do monthly reflections. And I no longer do things to please anyone else. I do it on my own terms because I know I owe it to myself to want more.
Thanks for sharing that. And I love how you mentioned about the shoes because I also buy, like for running shoes, I go in the kids section because it's cheaper. I don't know if it's like the Asian gene in me, but I mean, anything to do, like if you save money, why not, right? So it's a one great trait that we have. And if there's a woman who's listening to your episode and she's in a similar journey to self-confidence, what would be that one tip you'd give to her?
The one tip would be if you don't feel that you're in a certain place in your life, like you should be. My one tip would just to keep in mind that you have all the power to make a change in your life. Walk away from the self-limiting thoughts. You're in control of your own actions, your own thoughts, your own future. Some days we win and some days we lose. Just because you don't feel motivated or disciplined today, it doesn't mean that, all willpower is lost and that you can't change. Change, I feel like, is the only thing that is constant. And I feel like it's very important to envision yourself as the person you want to become. Because in order to yield results, you must change your mindset first and convince yourself that you are this new and improved type of person already. And the only way to get to your goals is to believe that you can become that person in the first place.
Thanks for sharing those great tips. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do and check out some of your work or wanted to join the Asian Hustle Network, was there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is mag.chu. It's M as in Maggie, AGG.C as in Charlie, HUI. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Asian Hustle Network. You can also find me on Facebook. If you type in Asian Hustle Network and find the group for it, you can find me there as well.
Thanks for sharing that. To our listeners, if you want to connect with Maggie, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Maggie's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Maggie today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Maggie.
Thank you so much for having me, Sheena. I had a great time.
Not a problem. It's really great having you on the show, so thanks again. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to get your daily boost of confidence.